This is Mr. Elmhorst, your sixth grade math teacher for advanced math. We're looking at area of trapezoids, and we are going to find the area of trapezoids, focusing on using the formula that we just went through for the lesson. So on your sheet of paper, problem number 1, start by writing down the formula that we're going to use by adding base 1 and base 2, and then multiplying by the height. Now we're going to fill that information out. 1/2, the short parallel side is going to be base 1. The long parallel side is going to be base 2, and then the height is going to be the perpendicular distance between the two parallel sides. Now, this will set up your process and step by step what you need to do. Add your two bases, then finish processing it. 1/2 times 20 or 1/2 times 6. 1/2 times 20 is going to be 10. So we process the dividing by 2. So put the area down below for your answer. Number 2, focusing on using the formula. This will be given on the star chart. So area is equal to 1/2 base 1. You're going to add the two bases together, divide by 2, and then get the height. Short base, long base, 8 plus 12, and then the perpendicular height between the two parallel sides. This one also happens to be 20. 8 plus 12 is going to give you 20. And you could process 20 divided by 2 to give you 10 to finish it up. So continue on with number 3. I am trying to make sure that my students know how to use an online ruler. So this one is formatted for centimeters. So you can turn it on, turn it off. So find the short base measure to the nearest ½ inch. Round to the nearest ½ inch, so that's going to be 6.5. And you go down, measure the long base length. That looks like that's going to be 13.5. And you want to do the L-shape perpendicular measurement straight across. I did see some students trying to measure the side length. This side length, if you're doing perimeter, you would need that. But this side length is not perpendicular. It would not give you square units. So make sure you're using perpendicular square measurements, and I believe that's closest to 5. So I'm going to turn that off. Now, filling the formula out on your paper. Number 3, area equals 1/2. Base 1 is 6.5. Base 2 is 13.5. And the height is 5. 6.5, 13.5 is going to give you 20. And it just coincidentally, most of these are starting with 20 as the base measure. Number 4, start with our formula. Your sixth grade advanced math teacher programmed the formula in for each question to make sure that we were using it. B1 plus B2 times the height. B1 is 5, B2 is 10, and the height is 8.5. We got 1/2, 15. It's probably easier if you do half of 15 before you multiply. 1/2 of 15 is going to be 7.5. So once you divide by 2, Now you just multiply to get the area. 8.5 times 7.5. Okay. Number 5, questions 1 through 4 all had you start with the formula. So number 5, let's start with the formula. Base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Now let's go back to the question and fill in the given information. Questions 1 through 4, base 1, base 2, and the height were given. But in question 5, the area is given. So we're going to take out the letter A and put that number in there. So the area is given. What else is given? Base 1 and base 2. Is the height given? No, so we're going to leave that in there. Now we rewrite following the steps. 18 plus 28 is going to be a 46. And looking at your answers, looks like we need to go one more step. We take 1/2 of base 1 plus base 2, and then we get 23. If we knew the height, we would multiply 23 times h, and that would give us 475. But because we don't know the h and we know the area, we can use this equation to solve. This is one step further. It's not asking you to solve, but if you were solving, you would just divide the area divided by the base, and that would equal the height. Okay, question number 6. This is a parallelogram, and the parallelogram, all you need, parallelograms can be made into rectangles with multiplying base times height. So the base measure is 9.5, and the height is going to be perpendicular. So I've had some students in each one of my classes, they're trying to measure the side length. This side length for a parallelogram is not squared, is not going to give you square units because it's not squared up. It's not at a right angle. So you need to turn it straight up and down as best you can and measure the vertical straight up and down perpendicular height. So what is the height straight up and down? 4.5. Now, question 1 was a trapezoid. We divided by 2 because we were changing the different base lengths into a rectangle. Trapezoid divide by 2. Trapezoid divide by 2. Parallelogram, all it is base times height, just like a rectangle. So you're multiplying 9.5 times 4.5, and then you're done. There is no divide by 2 here. I had a student ask me, Mr. Elmhorst, can't we just cut this off and flip it over there? That's basically what you're doing. If you measure the height and the base, it's going to give you the square units as if that piece was over here. Base times height, that's why parallelograms, all you need is those two measurements and you can get the square units or the square area. All right, number 7, the base measure. We're going to treat that just as the bottom of the shape. So it looks like the base measure of this triangle is 11.5. Now, we're not going to measure the diagonal or slant sides. We're going to measure the perpendicular straight up and down from the base to the tippy top peak of the triangle that's directly vertical. So it looks like that is going to be 6. Now, before you type your answer in for the area, make sure you use the formula on your paper, 1/2 base times height. Triangles, you need to divide it by 2. Now we fill it in. the base is 11, the height is 6. You could divide the even number by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the last step to the solve is 11.5 times 3. Using the formula for the shape, write down the formula on your paper. The triangular shape is base times height times 1/2, or base times height divided by 2. So we fill in the information. The base and the height are perpendicular. So 26 times 17. Myself, I would divide 26 by 2, divide by 2, and then multiply 17 times 13.